Joe.
All right, Woody. Man, I got to tell you, Coach has been unbelievable. He has been MVP here on this show in the morning. Been great about coming on. Got through the ACC tournament, got a win, and 25-8, and heading now to the West region, as Woody just said, to face number 10 seed Missouri. And he joins us this morning. Coach Lucas, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming on. I know it's a crazy time. I'm just wondering why you're watching this show. And you got a pretty good sense by the way you played and the way everybody else is playing, where you were going to go and what seed you were going to be, or did you go in there kind of no idea?
I went in there kind of no idea, but right away when I saw Ohio State get an 8 seed, I knew we were going to be a 7.
Wow. Yeah, I was just, as you take a look at that, it's funny. So I'm kind of working off what everybody else. Virginia's a 3 seed. I wasn't surprised. They played great against you guys, and they gave Duke all they could handle, and they look obviously almost 30 wins on the season. So I was like, okay, they're a 3 seed. North Carolina, Louisville were a 6 seed, and I was like, oh boy, did that surprise you a little bit in seeing Louisville?
I mean, a little bit. I think I feel the conference, the NCAA tournament should be based a little bit more off of how you finish in your league. But I also understand with some of their earlier games, they may have scheduled a little bit better than we did this year. So I understand how they end up getting a 6 seed.
Hey, Coach, one thing I like, and tell me if I'm wrong, you got a little break before the tournament. You play you played 6 guys, a lot of basketball, and they've stayed healthy all season. Now you get another little break. I think this is going to be good going into the tournament. Is that how you feel about this going to play Missouri?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I think it's what's needed and what you're saying. I think a reset, a refresh, and the excitement and everything needs to kick in. It gives you a kind of little extra jolt. And when you play, like you're saying, 6, 7 guys, you need as much of that energy as possible.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Coach, what a season. I know you haven't had a chance because the tournament's obviously very important and getting wins in that thing, and it is the big show. It's a big part of college basketball. It's a big part of sports in general now. But going 25-8, man, you got to be pretty fired up about now that you've gone through a regular ACC season. You've gone through the tournament. You guys got a big win in a tight ball game there. You got to feel pretty good.
No, I do. I feel really good. Virginia is just good. Sometimes you just run into people who are just better than you, and they were better than us that day and that night. And we played them close the first time, but they were another level in when we saw them in Charlotte. So I take that as a one-off, and now we got to reset and get ready for Missouri.
Hey, Coach, I got to ask you why we're talking ACC and talking about your basketball team, but Duke, a team you know very, very well, a number 1 seed, but boy, all of a sudden they get a couple of scares. Florida State got a chance to beat them on a last shot, and Virginia gave them all they can handle. What's your take on Duke going into this game with one of their key guys injured?
The injuries always for any team will play a big part, and then also when you're a part of those teams who have won so much and won throughout the year, especially this time of the year in March, the pressure starts to hit a little bit different. And when you're without those starters and without guys who have played in those moments and been in that role for the whole year, it changes you a lot because once you get in March, it's magnified. And your rotational players are now your star players. And you just never know how those guys are going to react. So that's the one thing about them is just kind of being banged up coming into the most important part of the year. That is a little scary.
Coach, the big dance, a different level. What do you tell your guys that are going through this for some of these guys going through this for the first time in this dance?
You tell them. I think I'm big on just saying it. Don't, try to act like it's just another game. You know what I mean? Like, no, this is going to be different. It's a different environment, especially for us. This will be more like a road game with how close Missouri is to St. Louis, but I told them we've been good on the road. We're 8-2 on the road. So we're striving these moments in these environments, so that won't be new. And then also just reiterating to them that we play to our identity. And it didn't matter if we were playing in St. Louis, Mars, or
Right.
Coral Gables. We're going to do what we do.
Right. Nothing's going to change the way you guys play with those big body guys. It's not changing. It's
Nope.
always about in the paint, offensive rebounds, being strong, and the whole deal. By the way, did that bother you at all? I know we've had comments, people upset. So how does a number 10 St. Louis get to play 2 hours? It's going to be a friggin' home game, as you just said, for them. Missouri to St. Louis. Just jump on a bus there for a little while, and they'll be there. That bother you at all, or is that just
No, it's just kind of like, interesting. You know what I mean? But it's kind of been our theme and our mindset all year. And I'm glad it happened to us because it keeps us with that edge. It keeps us with that chip on our shoulder that, we've been kind of disrespected all year. When we were picked in the ACC, we were picked not to make the tournament. We were picked all these things that we've overcome. So this is just another thing that we'll overcome.
Coach, I got to ask you, this is a question that came in to ask you, and sometimes I get you got some big body guys, you got some football body guys on this team. You got some big guys. Are they hard to find? They're as good as 3 or 4 of those guys you have, because you got some big wide body NBA looking dudes on this team. Are they hard to find when you're out? Is that something you specifically look for when you're recruiting?
No, it's something I look for. I think the positional size and the mass helps you in games and helps you be competitive. And you look at the last national championships and the teams that's made the Final Four, they've all looked like that. A lot of people will talk about all this offense and spreading the court, but when you get down and when it comes to winning, it's about getting a stop, getting rebounds, and being able to get fouled. And I think we're able to do that. Now, some things we got to tweak next year that will, make us better. Like we do have to get some more shooting, and with more shooting, you become better free throw shooting team. But I don't want to take away from our size and being physically opposing in most games. So I just got to find a good blend.
Hey, Coach, one other question I get a lot. So we talk about these guys coming out of high school that just they're putting up big numbers. Wherever they're playing, they're putting up big numbers, or on their travel team, they're putting up big numbers. They're all offense and no defense. How do you go about that, knowing a guy you're watching him, like you said, he's knocking down 20-footers whenever he wants. He looks like a hell of a one-on-one player. He's taking a lot of shots, but he's not interested in D. How do you treat that one?
You got to kind of watch him and see if he will be capable. You know what I mean? Because always, I will say this, most of the really, really good ones don't really care about defense. So you got to just kind of pick up on their kind of pedigree and see what their capabilities are. And then if you feel like you can coach them and if they have the makeup to change, because you also don't want to take a guy who's just a pig. Because if you take a pig, he can kind of mess up your whole team.
Right. Now you talk about turning off everybody else. That would be that'd be the first one on the list. Hey, Coach, thank you. You've been great. I can't thank you enough. Congratulations on so far what has been great. Let's keep it rolling on Friday against Missouri. I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me, and thanks for covering us and putting us out there. It meant a lot for us this year.
All right. Jay Lucas, always great having the coach joining us here this morning and talking about everything, recruiting and everything else. He's been unbelievable about coming on the show. He really has.